Israel is issuing a strong statement over the Palestinian pursuit of membership in the International Criminal Court. CCTV's Rowie Rettenberg joins us live from Tel Aviv. And Rowie, what has been Israel's response?
Well, Israel's response has come in a number of forms, most of them diplomatic. Israeli officials quite mindful of previous years when some of their measures have involved the announcement of new construction in the settlements, a move that was viewed as aggressive and hostile and unwelcomed by many in the international community. So many Israeli officials from the Netanyahu government hoping to avoid similar mistakes. On Sunday, Israeli officials saying that their response will not be defensive, but rather offensive.
It was the first meeting of the Israeli cabinet since Palestinians took steps last Friday to join the International Court. Israel had warned it would consider the act a nuclear option, and on Sunday, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, promised Israeli soldiers would never face trial at The Hague.
IDF soldiers will continue to defend the state of Israel with determination and might. Just as they defend us, we will defend them with the commitment.
The ICC was set up nearly 20 years ago to try anyone for alleged war crimes. More than 120 countries have signed on, but Israel and its biggest backer, the U.S., are not signatories and reject the court's jurisdiction. It's unlikely Israel would ever send its nationals to face ICC judges for their actions, for example, in Gaza, as Palestinians are hoping. But it could expose Israelis traveling in ICC member countries to possible arrest. Activist Uri Zaki from the left-leaning opposition Meretz party blames Netanyahu for exposing Israelis to such vulnerability.
Benjamin Netanyahu did not make the necessary compromises to reach a permanent status agreement, which is in Israeli national interest.
Israel also confirmed on Sunday that it would halt the transfer of more than $100 million in tax revenues to the Palestinian Authority, again in response to Palestinian steps towards the ICC. But Palestinian officials say they will not back down.
The Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian people will never give up on our Palestinian core issues. The right to be free and independent. The right of return, as well as a Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital in exchange for this money.
They are confident the ICC will accept them and their complaints.
Israel says the only way to achieve a Palestinian state is through direct negotiations between both sides. Palestinians say years of negotiations have gotten them nowhere, and they insist Israel be held accountable. For now, both sides are digging in their heels in this latest diplomatic tit-for-tat, which will likely only get worse before it gets better.
Rowie, tell us, how have the Palestinians been reacting to the Israelis' reaction to this?
Not impressed, to say the least, many of them expecting such a response. But on Sunday, Saeb Erekat, the chief Palestinian negotiator, called Israel's announcement that it would withhold half of the December tax revenues, the equivalent of a war crime. Saeb Erekat, one of the biggest critics of Israel's failure to reach a deal through negotiations, because, of course, he is the negotiator. And when I spoke to him over the weekend, Erekat told me that he's confident that the ICC would not only accept the Palestinians as a member within 60 days, but also that they would accept a number of their complaints. They would focus on two strategies, attacking both the war on Gaza and the settlement process. And Saeb Erekat saying he's certain that the ICC will side with them, and saying, responding to the threats coming from not just Israel, but also the U.S., saying that people who are concerned with their actions shouldn't be worried about people going to court. They should simply stop committing crimes.
Rowie Rettenberg, thank you so much, reporting live from Tel Aviv.